VPN is not that secure as you think. TicketMaster breach and the consequences. AI is the reason of mass layoffs, and how to annoy your fellow Linux admin. This and more in this episode. So let's get started. Let's talk about news from the IT world, and I'm using my helping tool to be sure that I'm passing everything what I wanted to. So let's start with AWS, and the most important fact today is that the registration for AWS reInvent is open. What is reInvent? If you don't know, where are you living? reInvent is the biggest AWS conference in Las Vegas. Nice place. A lot of people from AWS, a lot of AWS heroes, community builders, and people from the industry. So if you have an idea to go there, do it because it is worth it. Another news. So centrally manage member account root email address across your AWS organization. I know how it sounds, but in short, it means that you are able to manage centrally the email addresses, root email addresses in your AWS accounts through the organization. This is very helpful because finally you have this in one place. Another, Amazon Inspector Container image scanning is now available for Amazon CodeCatalyst and GitHub Actions. So it means that you can increase the quality of your pipeline with adding this native tool into your pipelines and scan your containers. Very helpful from the security perspective, from the pipeline governance. Please take a look on this because this might be something what you have to use or should use at least. Okay, let's go to more general news about the clouds. So interestingly, Microsoft announced $3.2 billion investment in Sweden cloud and AI sector. Well, so probably more jobs will be lost very soon because of AI. But anyway, it is quite significant commitment for 2 years. We'll see where it will go. And well, naturally, when we talk about AI, I mentioned this mass layoff. So what we heard that Google and Microsoft will cut jobs in 2024 for AI divisions, and as I counted, it's around more than 2,000 people. So this number of people will lost their job. Well, we'll see how it will go again. Right, so another news, this time about Linux, and in fact Centos 7. So as you know, if not, please find it in the internet. Red Hat announced some time ago that Centos will cease to exist, and it is happening because on the end of this month, on 13th of June, Centos 7 official end of life date will come, so there will be no support. It's sad day because Centos was very popular system. I use this a lot, but well, it happens. Okay, we need to find something else. Probably we already did, right? Okay, news from the Kubernetes world. Only one, but very significant. And this is about the anniversary of the Kubernetes, 10th anniversary of Kubernetes, of existing of the Kubernetes. Because 10 years ago, the first commit to Kubernetes repository was done, and this commit contains 250 files and 47,501 line. That was something what was committed, written in Bash and Markdown and of course Golang. So this was the first commit to Kubernetes ecosystem and where we are now, right? So Kubernetes is one of the most popular tool in containerization management area, containerization orchestration and microservices world, right? So well done, Kubernetes. Okay, now sad part. Let's talk a little bit about security. We all love security, right? right? Okay, so let's start with TicketMaster. So probably you heard already about this. Couple of days ago, 1 week or so, we heard that there was a data breach in TicketMaster. Generally, it was not just the TicketMaster, it was also the Live Nation. So when you buy your tickets to some concerts or some events and so on, probably you use TicketMaster as one of the services where you can buy those tickets. There is a lead to Snowflake, but it's not fully confirmed yet. I don't have and I didn't find any information right now about how deeply Snowflake is involved. What we know for sure that Snowflake observed some increased traffic in some accounts, so interestingly, there should be some connection. So for the TicketMaster breach itself, 500 million, I'm repeating, 500 million of records was stolen. What was in those records? We have no full information yet, I believe. But names, emails, the physical addresses, phone numbers, credit cards, sometimes even with details, ticket orders, and so on, was in this data which was stolen. Behind this breach, there is a group called Shiny Hunters, and they are already well known because, for example, they also attacked Santander, who lost on only 30 millions of records, right? So, well, it is nothing. Quite interesting. What you should do? Well, observe the news, observe the portals where they talk about security, and wait for the information from TicketMaster. Probably you are not exposed like fully and you need to just, remove your cards, whatever, change your banks and so on, but still it's worth to observe what's going on. And another interesting thing about the security and VPNs. So, how many of you are using VPN? Probably most of you, right? How many of you use VPN from the security reasons to keep your data like secure, not just encrypted, but like with another layer of security, right? You have the pipe to somewhere and your traffic is going only through this pipe. Well, bad news. It's not that secure, in fact. Because yes, encryptions, yes, all those elements are there, that's perfect. But in fact, there is a possibility to redirect your traffic to some other point and then redirect this traffic from this point like it should go, right? And you will even don't know that this redirection happened because it is happening on the second side, not your side, but the second side. So generally, it is related to routing tables, that someone can inject additional records to routing tables, and you already know what it means. And if you look on this from the general perspective, it's not the problem or some vulnerability in VPN software. It is a vulnerability of the way of the whole concept of networking, VPNs, and so on and so on and so on. So if you use VPN side to side, you have the configured VPN by your company or whatever, this is probably safe, at least to the point where no one is able to go inside the organization perimeter, right? But if you use publicly available VPNs, like I don't want to say names, but you can find them, right? Probably it is not very smart to use it for the strictly security reasons. To fake or mark your location, yeah, but not necessarily fully for the security reasons. Probably this will be This will be something what will be more and more explained, and the VPN vendors will take care about this. But for today, well, it is what it is. So be careful with that and understand what is the real purpose of the tool you are using. Because right now it looks like we came back with VPNs, where really the reason of VPNs is. Two more. One is about books. If you like reading, do you like reading? Anyway, if you like reading, go to Humble Bundle, and there are 3 very interesting bundles to get for very reasonable price. I would say very reasonable price. One is about CI/CD, called CI/CD Mastery. Another is about DevOps, dive into DevOps. And finally, generative AI, the most hype topic today, right? So go to Humble Bundle, and you can buy different sets for very, very good price. And finally, conferences. With conference topic, I'd like to announce that in the beginning of the September, if I remember correctly, it's 3rd and 4th of September in Hamburg, we have something what is called Container Days. Very nice conference related to containers only, not generally, not only like Docker or Kubernetes or whatever. Containers, microservices. It's a little bit different than Kubernetes, for example, because not Kubernetes, I'm sorry, KubeCon. Because KubeCon is related to all tools in the field where CNCF exists. Let's say it this way. This Container Days is about containers, period. If you like to go there, it's quite interesting conference, very good lineup, as I saw already. So yeah, go there and find your talks which you want to attend. And this is all about the news. So let's go to the another section. Normally in my videocast or podcast, there will be a section called interviews, and surprise, I will talk with someone about different topics. I'd like also to have some demos and hands-on. We'll see how it will go. But as this is the first episode, and a lot of things happened, and I have to say my apologies why I stopped publishing my podcast for like more than 1 month right now. It's a little bit like almost 2 months, I think. There is a reason for that. So it started on very specific Thursday, because at that Thursday we had AWS Community Day in Poland, which I have the pleasure and honor to be one of the co-organizers. It was really great event. I mean, really great. The biggest so far. We had very great lineup, 4 tracks, a lot of people. I think more than 600 people joined us. So it was very crowdy, very busy, very tiresome event for me, but it was great, really. And it was on Thursday. And as you probably know, I published my episodes always on Thursdays. So I decided, okay, I will wait till Friday, record the episode on Friday, and talk about AWS Community Day. Even AWS talked about our AWS Community Day. So that was cool. Anyway, on Friday, when I started to prepare myself to recording, my boss called me and he fired me. Yes. Right. Shit happens. Okay. Obviously, at this point, I stopped thinking about recording my episode, right? However, very quickly, and I mean it very quickly, someone started to talk to me about the situation. I really saw the power of the network. Okay? So just to have like a side story here, that is why you should, well, it's not only one reason, but one of the reasons why you should build your network, your connections, your community, let's call it in this bold way, is that this community will pay back when you will need it. What happened really in my case? So I had quickly a lot of offers, and one of the offers was from the Tameshi. We know each other with Tameshi folks from different conferences, AWS Community Day, DevOps Days in Krakow, DevOps Days in Warsaw. I know those guys, and I knew that at that point where Tameshi approached me, I knew if I do not fuck up with the interview, I'm safe. Luckily, I didn't. So right now I am the cloud architect at Tameshi, and from this point here I want to really say big thank you to everyone who was involved in this process of hiring me there. I'm really grateful, and I'm really looking forward to do great things together. And well, let's go to the point. Okay, so after that day I had some time to think, organize myself, start doing other things, and prepare myself for interviews, looking for different offers, and so on and so on and so on. And I didn't have a time and space in my mind to think about recording the episode. Then I was hired by the Tameshi. I spent some time, learning everything, and so on and so on and so on. Again, I didn't have time for thinking about recording. And finally, in May, I had the pleasure to be on 2 conferences in North America, one in San Diego, the DevOps Con, organized by Sans Media. Kind of small conference. I'm calling it like Meetup Plus. Don't get this word wrong. It's not just the meetup. It's fully blown conference, but small one. And this is the power of this conference, because you have the possibility to really connect with people, okay? So it was DevOps Con, but also JS conference together. So they do this in that way that they match 2 conferences together. What is great. And after that, after being in San Diego, 1 week later, I was invited to Genetech conference, Elevate Dev 24 in Montreal, Canada. What was, again, great conference, internal one, but like enormously big. 1,000 people, and believe me, if someone is doing this kind of conference for their own people, oh my, okay? It was great conference. I had free activities in San Diego, 1 keynote, 1 talk, and workshops about CI/CD design with Garima Bye. We did it together. The workshop is also in some scope of the book we write together with Garima, Michael, and Muktesh. And in Montreal, I had 4 talks about topics which I really love. So there was observability, there was CI/CD, there was infrastructure as code, and SBOMs. So quite successful. A lot of people were there on my talks. A lot of them, I hope, enjoyed my talks. So concluding this, I didn't have time to think about recording. When I came back, of course, jet lag just punched me, and I didn't have even powers to think about recording. But then I came to the idea, hey, podcast is cool, right? But I had a lot of comments already, maybe not a lot, a few at least, that maybe videocast is something what is also interesting, because people want to see, this talking head. Hopefully something more interesting than just talking head. And I promise in next episode there will be not just me talking. I'm just giving you the background. A long talk about background. Anyway, so it came to my mind that probably this will be a good idea. So that's why I started to plan and organize this. So this will be also the podcast, but the main channel for me right now will be video and YouTube. I don't think about monetizing it in any way, at least not today. I'm I think I'm reasonable here, and that is that. That's why this gap in the podcast. So I hope you enjoy this this explanation, and I didn't lost you. And we can go to the next element of this podcast or videocast. I'd like to show you one very interesting tool which you can use to annoy your fellow administrators and Linux administrators. It is called SL. And those of you who see some connection with the most or one of the most popular commands in Linux, yes, you are right, ls. So ls means list files, right? So you can list what is in the directory, but we are just humans, and when we type very quickly, we do the mistakes very often. We have this mistake with ls and we type sl. Normally you have just the error, but the sl program is kind of cool and annoying stuff because it brings something to your screen. And let's see what we have here. So first of all, we can install SL. It is very easy. In some systems, in this case, I'm using the Docker container with Ubuntu. Sometimes in other systems, you will have this already installed in the proper path. I need to create the link, and I do this as a symbolic link. If you are interested, what is the difference between symbolic link and normal link or hard link, go to my Killer Coda trainings and you can learn that. And when someone do the mistake and the typo SL, this happens. And yes, you cannot break it. There is a switch where you can do Control C to break it, but if you really want to annoy someone, don't give him this option. There are some other SL, more modern SLs, where you have the train like some TGV or TGV. In French it will be TGV, I think. Train, and also you can add like carriages there, and imagine this engine plus 40 carriages going through your screen for like 5 minutes, and you cannot break it. When you do this to your fellow administrator who you don't like, just watch like when his head just explodes. This is so cool, really. And I'm saying this as a former SysAdmin. Right, so, but don't, use it too much, because you need SysAdmins sometimes. The very specific section, which I'd like to keep like informational but more funny. So in this section I will present some very interesting GitHub repositories, and right now I'd like to show you the repository created by Kelsey Hightower. If the name tells you something, yes, you're right, this is him. And the repository is called No Code. In this repository we can go and start developing our no-code applications. And it's very easy. It is really no code. The problem is that I don't think that Kelsey is really active in this repository, because there is a lot of pull requests opened and not closed. So Kelsey, do your job there. And also 4,000 issues? I mean, really? Man. Anyway, it is very great way to start with no code. Go there on GitHub and have fun. Finally, this brings us to the end of this episode. And this was the first episode as a videocast. I hope you enjoy it. I will work on the form, I will work on how it works really, and I have some hidden help from a colleague of mine. So, Craig, thank you very much for your offer to help me with this. And remember, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumb up, subscribe, click this bell button to be informed that new episode of this podcast or anything on my channel is just published. And I have more fun content planned. I have already a list of guests which I want to invite. Some of them are waiting for a long time. I'm sorry for that, but you will be there, I'm sure. And let's sure that you follow me on LinkedIn, mainly on LinkedIn, on the threads. I am not on Twitter or X or whatever. Don't look for me there. LinkedIn, threads, those two, I am there. And of course on YouTube. Thank you for joining me today. See you in the next episode. My name is Paweł Piwosz and this was the DevOps in Agile Way videocast. Thank you.